Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You know what, folks? In about 10 or 15 minutes, I have a surprise guest for you. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. I'll give you some time to Google the gentleman's name. Jonathan Lee Iverson. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a good time. Jonathan Lee Iverson. See who Jonathan Lee Iverson is, because he'll be with us shortly. I met him several months ago through my wife, and he absolutely fascinated me. I had time to speak to him, and I wanted to share him with you, because I think you'll find him fascinating too. I can't keep it a secret here, Mr. Producer. He was the, what do they call him, the center ring leader? He was the ringmaster of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, which apparently doesn't exist anymore. But he was the ringmaster. And he's an African-American gentleman with quite a story. But, man, can he sing, he can dance, and it's even more than that. Very charismatic, and he's got a wonderful story. So I want you to meet the last of the, because Barnum and Bailey, Ringling Brothers doesn't even exist anymore. The last of such gentlemen. And I would say, if not the best, certainly one of the best. But I think you'll really enjoy it. I really do. So stick with us. Sort of a holiday thing. I'll tell you what's not a holiday thing. Remember Jackie Spear? She gave testimony that she was sexually harassed when she was a staffer in Congress. Now she's a congresswoman in Congress. And now she wants to, she says, invoke the 25th Amendment to the Constitution to remove Trump. I want you to hear what she has to. Anybody who says we should invoke the 25th Amendment is an idiot. And that then would include Jackie Spear. Now, why are they idiots? Because it's a simple matter of mathematics. For the House of Representatives to impeach a president, it is a majority vote. Then it goes to the Senate for trial and removal or not. Ultimately, for the 25th Amendment process to take effect, it requires a two-thirds vote of the House and the Senate. So she's an idiot right off the top. But now I know why they set this whole sexual harassment thing up. They've been harassing sexually endlessly on Capitol Hill. It's pervasive. They harass each other. They harass their staff. They harass strangers. Strangers harass their... All kinds of weird crap going on in our Roman Congress. All comes up all of a sudden. Doesn't come up under Bill Clinton's presidency? No. Doesn't come up under Barack Obama's presidency? No. Suddenly, there's an epiphany. And the epiphany occurs when they're trying to get rid of Trump, and they want to bring up all the allegations against Trump. So it turns out Jackie Spear really was politicizing the issue. Unfortunately. Cut 8, go.
Well, I've been speaking out about the invocation of the 25th Amendment since early this year. Because
Since early this year. That means upon, or nearly upon, Donald Trump's inauguration, his swearing in as president, Jackie Spear has been saying he needs to be removed under the 25th Amendment. And she wants to get a pat on the back for it. Oh, wow, you were ahead of everybody. Go ahead.
Is not equipped to do the job. When he lashed out at Kim Jong-un and said he wasn't yet going to feel the fire and fury, I mean, he was inciting an international incident.
No, he wasn't inciting an international anything, genius. If you wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment, and you don't get to invoke the 25th Amendment, that's not the process. These people even read the Constitution. And why do progressives even care about the Constitution? Her pal, Barack Milhouse Benito Obama, he was the one provoking by appeasing the North Koreans and by subsidizing and paying the Iranians. Sounds to me like Obama's the kook. Go ahead.
Fighting nuclear war. And the 25th Amendment is there to be invoked by the Vice President and a majority of the members of the cabinet if the President
stop right there. So how would you invoke it? You're not even coherent. But Alison Camerata, formerly of Fox, said, now it's CNN. She's enlightened. Go ahead.
But you think the president is incapacitated? You think that President Trump is mentally unfit somehow?
I do believe that he does not conduct himself in a manner that is consistent with the presidency of the United States.
So she's a liberal, and she doesn't believe he should be president. There you go. That's it. Early last year, she said I wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment, which she cannot do. And moreover, she says it's because he's provoking the Nimrod who runs North Korea. She's got it all backwards. But, she's aiding and abetting the Nimrod who runs North Korea, isn't she? Cut 9, go.
But just help us understand that, because impetuous is not incapacitated. So why are you able to connect these in your mind?
Well, let me just say this. Good for Alison Camerata. My guess is she'll be fired in a few days by CNN. Go ahead.
Connect them because he has his finger on the nuclear button. He is in a position to make a decision for us to attack another country with a nuclear weapon. And if you get insulted and then have to lash out at people.
Does this woman sound like a fool? Talk about mental incapacitation. No offense. You liberals aren't the only ones who can throw those phrases around, but Jackie Spirit, you sound like you have a screw loose. You sound like you have more than a screw loose. Go ahead.
Done with foreign leaders. He's done it with Kim Jong-un. He's done it with others. That is not someone that I believe has the capacity to do the job. Senator Corker has made the same comments.
Oh, well, Senator Corker. Well, we all have to rely on Senator Corker, don't we? Go ahead.
The others have commented about that as well. It's one of those issues that no one really wants to talk about. But
you never stop talking, and you never stop talking about it. Oh, yes, CNN has had whole shows on it with the idiot Brian Stelter, among others, and the other idiot, Don Lemon. And by the way, idiot is the word that should precede any mention of a host on CNN. Go ahead.
Ability to talk about it because we are, in fact, trying to guard the country against war that is.
No, you're not. You voted to arm Iran with nuclear weapons. You're a fraud. That's what you are, a fraud. Go ahead.
But look, the vice president is not going to invoke the 25th Amendment. I mean, so where do you go from here?
Well, I don't know that that's actually going to be the case. I think.
And who's mentally off here? Seriously. No, I think Mike Pence may actually do. Oh, yeah, he might do it. He might. And she doesn't even understand that you need 2/3 in the House. Listen, I'm warning you, America. If they take the House, I said it the day after the election, they're going after him. All these investigations into corruption at the top of the FBI and so forth, they're all going to go away. All of a sudden, they're going to turn this into an impeachment effort. And so those of you say, hey, let's go third party. Hey, I have an idea. We should go third party. Well, who's we? What are you going to do? We. You, him, her. What about you? No. We should go third party. Really? Let me tell you why I'm going to vote Republican. Not because I like what they're doing. Matter of fact, on many occasions, I despise them if you listen to this show. Truly. Mark, it's not a binary choice. We get these idiots telling us, oh, it's not? Let's see, there's a Democrat Party, Republican Party, Libertarian. What else? Well, you can write somebody in. Oh, I didn't even know. I can write somebody in. And when's the last time that worked as an effective measure? Very few times. Go ahead.
There would be, I think it's my responsibility and Congress's responsibility.
It's your responsibility to resign. Can you sound like an idiot? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife used to be a top lawyer at Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. Really, the entire enterprise there before she moved on to other things. And we went to their circus a couple of months before, sadly, and really sadly, the circus left town and never came back. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. And I met the ringmaster. And I was so intrigued by the ringmaster, and I was so, during the course of the circus, watching him as well as, of course, everybody else, I told her, I have to meet this guy. I want to meet this guy. I want to know more about him. And then I said I'd like to bring on the radio show to share you and what you've done throughout your life in Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. It's Christmas time, it's Hanukkah time, and this is the time to do it, I felt. And he was the first African-American ringmaster in nearly 150 years of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. Jonathan Lee Iverson, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I love that introduction, man.
Well, you gave me $20, and that's what I do. No. But I want people to get to know you and meet you because, well, let's start this way. Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. Do you miss it? Because you were with them for quite some time, weren't you?
Absolutely. I was there for roughly 18 years. Mm-hmm. I more than miss it, of course. It's something that's just, I did it for almost over half my life. And it's just something that's really etched into my bones. You know, we have a saying in the circus world, once the sawdust is in your blood, you'll never be the same, and it's true. It was really everything. It gave me everything. It gave me my family. It gave me a life like no other. Just imagine, you get to make a living and have a life. My wife worked for the show. My children worked for the show. And, of course, I did. And so we traveled, played, worked together. And, my children haven't been without me since they were born. They've never been away from me, thanks to Ringling Brothers. And that really was the great culture of circus. And that's what I missed most of all.
And you probably miss performing and you miss the audience, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think most importantly, I just miss the culture of the great American pastime, which is the greatest show on earth. I miss the culture of just going from city to city and becoming familiar with the many people who just really loved going to the circus. And I would befriend some of the people. I would go to I would be invited many times to people's homes for dinner, and we have actually maintained relationships with several people throughout the country. But I think most of all, I just miss, I miss my comrades. I miss those wonderful train runs. As you know, we lived on a mile-long circus train, and we crisscrossed this beautiful country on the rails. And those are the things I miss most of all. And, of course, bringing magic and joy and lifting people, giving that to people, taking them away from their troubles. I think the circus is probably the only form of entertainment I know of where everybody across the board, I don't care who you are, what shell you come in, what your political views may be, everybody is drawn to it. And that, to me, was always the biggest thrill and the source of pride for me that, no matter who you are, it really was for children of all ages.
And these were acts that these people from all over the world, the best from all over the world, they had to try out to be members of a circus like this, which was the biggest in the world. And so you really met people from every corner of the earth, didn't you? Absolutely.
Yeah, that was always, that to me was also another wonderful gift. To actually be immersed in culture, and to be immersed in really other people's worlds, and they bringing their lives over here and they becoming acclimated to our American life, and it was just so much fun, and it was wonderful. And to know that we've maintained those relationships even after the show closed is a really wonderful thing. I mean, you really connect with people, and you just tend to find out you have a common humanity, no matter what language you speak, no matter what culture you're from. I think that was, again, another wonderful gift that the greatest show on earth gave me.
And I'm speaking to Jonathan Lee Iverson, who was the last of the great ringmasters. And let me ask you a question. I don't know why this would be controversial. I was taken in the back at some point, or wherever we call it, and I saw these magnificent animals, the elephants, the trainers. They just love their elephants, and the tigers and the lions and so forth. And you have veterinarians there. And how did you see them and the people who cared for them, interacted with them?
Heroic. Some of the most patient people I've ever met in my life. I don't think I could have ever handled their jobs. The things they went through, the ugly accusations hurled at them day in and day out, and knowing what they were doing was just and right and beautiful. and really their particular calling. I'm not an animal person. I'm from New York City. The most exotic thing I grew up around was squirrels. So I'm not that, I don't have that kind of leaning, but I sure do have an appreciation for people who do. Even, you know, our friends over in New York City with the carriage horses. I mean, you know, caring for animals is not something you go into to get rich. And it's not something you do for the glamour of it. It's really an ugly job. You don't have time to yourself. Most of our animal personnel, when we were at Ringling Brothers, I mean, they hardly had any time off because, you know, the animal's needs came first. I remember a story of an elephant animal. He told me his wife was having I think their third or fourth child, and he got a call that, you know, something was amiss in the elephant compound and they needed him. And his wife there on the delivery table was going, you know how it is in his family, animals first, go get to work. I mean, she's having a child, and that's how they were. It was like, you know, animals are first, and that's what I saw every day. And also, you know, again, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm a bit paranoid by nature. These are people I trusted with my own children, and my children had the privilege of being around these animals all the time. In fact, they would invite the kids in sometimes to feed and clean the animals, to help them around the stables. I mean, you know, I entrusted my children with them, and, you know, they had a great time. And till this day, my children, who grew up far more dynamic than I did, have such a great empathy for animals and living things because of that experience. They have such a wonderful sense of creatures, and it is something that I take pride in, and I know is a gift, again, from the greatest show on earth.
I'm speaking with Jonathan Lee Iverson, the last of the great American ringmasters, the first African-American ringmaster that Barnum and Bailey ever had, and the last, I guess. I want to talk to you more. How did a guy from New York, from Harlem, wind up in the circus? Don't go away. And by the way, here's a great website, too, bigtopvoice.com, bigtopvoice.com. We'll be right back.
The Mark Levin Show, live and national at 877-381-3811.
It's very sad the circus is gone, or at least the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, particularly during the holidays. It's very, very sad. You know, while major senior groups like AARP lobby for liberal interests behind closed doors, it can feel as if the voices of mature conservatives in this country aren't heard these days. But that's where AMAC comes in. AMAC is the Association of Mature American Citizens. It is a conservative membership organization that fights to protect your interests on Capitol Hill. Fighting to protect America, limit government, rein in excessive government spending, and uphold the traditional values of family, faith, freedom. AMAC wants to bring that back to America. AMAC members also have access to first-rate benefits, including special rates on car insurance and exclusive deals on cell phone service, car rentals, hotels, and more. With a strong presence in Washington, AMAC is focused on producing results rather than rhetoric. AMAC does more than talk. AMAC takes action. I encourage you to join AMAC today, and you can join online at amac.us. That's amac.us. Help bring the country back to the values upon which it was built. Just head over to amac.us and become an AMAC member today. Remember, AMAC is better for you, and it's better for America. Now, I'm talking with Jonathan Lee Iverson, the last of the great American ringmasters, as he was for Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. And his website, it's a beautiful website, by the way, it's really nice, bigtopvoice.com, bigtopvoice. You know, Mr. Producer, put it up on our social sites if you would. Bigtopvoice.com, bigtopvoice.com. All right, I'm curious, everybody's curious. How did a guy from Harlem wind up at Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus?
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout-out to Kim Junod, who actually developed my website at newconceptsonline.com. You know, it was just really a stroke of wonderful luck, I think. I often call it a happy detour. So I grew up really in a wonderful community. My mother was very, very, very active. She was one of those nosy mothers who didn't give me any privacy. And she happened to discover this wonderful organization called the Boys Choir of Harlem. And we both agreed that it's something I wanted to do. I didn't really know that it was something I had to work for. So it was the hardest 18 months of my life. I thought I would just go in and just start performing, but I was 11 years old. I joined the choir, and boy, I learned a great deal about just really, putting your heels in the ground and working hard. And I had to work hard. I had to earn that position. I had to learn the rudiments of music, learn how to breathe, learn how to conduct myself with the public. And, we're traveling all over the world, so I had to learn how to conduct myself with different cultures and things like that. So it was just such a wonderful experience, being in that choir. And the rewards were wonderful. I got to share the stage with so many notable people. I got to sing for 4 presidents before I even got to high school. And I went from there to the University of Hartford Hart School of Music, where I was studying to be an opera singer. And so I graduated, and the plan was to go to Europe to further my studies. So I was just going to raise some more money and do that. But in the process of auditioning and really just hustling to try to get some money to go to Europe, I happened into this audition for the Fireside Dinner Theater Christmas show. The Fireside Dinner Theater is a wonderful theater out in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. It's family-owned. It's a beautiful city. And I auditioned for them. I got that, but the director, Phil McKinley, was also directing Ringling Brothers. And he called me later that day, said, I want you for the dinner theater, but would you be interested in auditioning for Ringmaster of Ringling Brothers? Now, this sounds strange to me. It sounded like somebody was calling me to join the CIA. But I nodded and thought, why not? And so I auditioned. It was a rigorous audition process. It was about 30 other candidates. And really the rest was history. I thought I would just do it for a year or 2 years and, just be a wonderful dinner guest. But it really turned into life. And I ended up doing it for 18 years. But it was really a really wonderful, happy detour in my life. It's something I didn't plan, but I definitely would do it again.
How old were you at the time?
I was 22 years old.
So you're the ringmaster at 22? You must have been one of the youngest ringmasters.
I was the youngest, in fact. I was the youngest ringmaster ever. I was the youngest ringmaster of the greatest show on earth. I joke with my son because unofficially he became the youngest because in our very last show he was actually 11 when they hired him to play me. In our final show, the one that you got to see. And so it was really, we had fun with that. So we said, well, there you go, your son's the youngest ever. But 22 years old in 1998.
Yeah, I really miss it as a fan, as a person, who's just sitting down and watching it. You must really miss this.
Oh, you and me both. I mean, I'm not just somebody who was privileged to work there, but I was a fan too, and I think that's what really made it wonderful for everybody who worked there. We were fans of the show. I remember growing up in New York City and going to Madison Square Garden all the time to see the greatest show on earth. I mean, it was just such a major event in my life. I mean, it was just such an age of innocence. And there's something about when the circus comes to town, seeing these people from all over the world who suddenly, in a sense, they become otherworldly with their abilities, and you see these animals that you will never be exposed to had you not gone to the circus, and you see how wondrous and intelligent and humorous animals can be, and just the whole atmosphere. It just smells of cotton candy, popcorn, and sawdust and other things. And it's it's just pure joy, and I think that's what it is, And so every time I hear it all the time, even now that it's not even been a year, but I constantly hear from parents who, say, I have to explain to my child, the circus is not coming around this year. And I know there's a bit of magic that has left the world. And I mean, we know we need it now more than ever.
Now, what are you doing now?
Right now, currently, I'm actually at another circus. I'm at the Lone Star Circus. I'm doing a holiday engagement here at the Moody Gardens in Galveston, Texas. In fact, our show opens tomorrow, December 15th until the 25th here in Galveston, Texas. It's the Lone Star Circus presents Sec Joyeux Noël, and it's a Christmas show. And then we moved the show over to Dallas, Texas for December 28th to January 1st. And that'll be at the Dallas Children's Theater from December 28th to January 1st. And after that, I'm actually scheduled to be in a play at the Garden Theater in Orlando March 16th through the 31st. It's called the Tennessee Walk, and I'm going to be doing that. But I've been really on myself. I've been actually writing my book, writing my story about my experience with the greatest show on earth, my experience growing up, getting to the greatest show on earth, the lessons I've learned. So I'm in the midst of doing that, and it is tedious. So I may have to call.
It's tough writing a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But I'm doing that, and hopefully I'll be able to secure a publisher. Somebody will be interested, and they'll want to hear about The Last Ringmaster. And that's really, all I'm doing, and raising my family, and just
well, let me ask you this: these events you're going to be at, do you list them on your website?
I haven't listed this one on my website. It was something I just got. It was,
But will you? Because I'm going to send a lot of people to your website.
Okay, well, I'll put it on my website, absolutely, and I really appreciate that.
Wait a minute, we crashed his website? Do you want to double check his website, make sure we didn't crash it? I definitely don't want to hurt you. I don't want to shut down your website. Are you double sure of that, Rich? All right, I'll tell you what. When we're done, don't hang up, Jonathan. I want you to give this information to my producer, Rich, and we'll put it up on my sites. Okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
And get a hold of your guy and tell him to muscle up your website, because I think there's a lot of people listening who are absolutely intrigued with you. I mean, you've got enormous charisma. You really do.
Thank you so much.
And the thing is, nobody, people have seen you in the circus all these years. Many of them probably know who you are, too. But your singing voice is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I remember sitting there again with my wife and others and saying, I can't believe this guy. So, you're supposed to be watching the lines and this and that, and I'm watching you. So.
I appreciate that.
All right, but you're going to be the Lone Star Circus. I can't pronounce this, to be honest with you. Give us that again.
Okay, it's the Moody Garden presents Lone Star Circus Sec Joyeux Noël. So it's basically CIRQUE JOYEUX Noël. It is dinner and a show, and it opens December 15th through the 25th. And then we move the show over to Dallas, Texas at the Dallas Children's Theater from December 28th to January 1st.
Okay, I have an idea. Mr. Producer, Jonathan has a Twitter site. Go ahead and link to that, will you? Can we do that? Yes, we will do that. And so people can go over there and talk to you over at your Twitter site, right?
Sure, they can talk to me at Twitter or even at Instagram.
Instagram, Jonathan Lee Iverson. Jonathan, I hope to meet you again. I hope we can all go to dinner. I mean, you are really a fascinating person to me. Absolutely terrific.
I really appreciate this. Thank you very much.
All right. God bless you. Have a great Christmas.
God bless you, too.
All right. He's a great guy, really. Spend some time with him. Really like him very much. So, Rich, how are we going to fix this? What are we going to do? We're going to link to what? You're going to put his info. I'll tell you what. Let's call him back. Tell him what he wants us to put up on my sites. Our sites don't crash, and the reason is we have millions of you on them already, so they're built up. And I'm sure they didn't expect this, but I definitely want to draw your attention to him. It's a rare person that I meet that really causes me to want to help them. And more than that, to want to present them to you, which is really the point. And I can't wait for his book. And I'm really sorry that Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey is not working anymore, because there's many kids out there, you folks have a lot of kids who never had an opportunity to go to that circus. And it was the greatest circus on earth. Absolutely was. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Omarosa. Anybody who cares, raise your hand. Yeah, me neither. She's all over TV, you know, very, very important. So preposterous, the whole thing. Now, I said to you that I'm going to vote Republican next time. Now, why am I going to do it, even though I despise so much of what they do and don't do, and so many of them? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if the Democrats win the House, they will impeach this president. And whether you like this president or not, if you have integrity, if you're intellectually honest, you understand and agree, I think, that he hasn't done anything that justifies impeachment, period. And that it would be a coup d'etat. And so there are some things that are more important than others. You prioritize these issues. That's that. Now, as for this Jonathan Lee Iverson, did I tell you? Is he not incredibly impressive? Incredibly impressive. And keep an eye on that website of his. I'm sure it'll be back. BigTopVoice.com. It's down right now. If you pile in, you're only going to make it tougher. So, but try it in a few hours. BigTopVoice.com. You'll see how impressive he is on the various things that he's got there. And we'll keep track of him, too. I should bring him back from time to time, don't you think, Rich? I mean, I really like him. I try to expose you to people like this. I mean, we have some substitutes on my program when I'm not here who, in and of themselves, in their own right, they've worked very hard and they were somewhat known, but I like to promote them even more. My buddy Dan Bongino. First time I knew Dan Bongino, he was a Secret Service guy that used to listen to my show. Ben Shapiro. First time I heard of Ben Shapiro. I think I read something he wrote at Breitbart way back when. And he had a program mornings in L.A. And I felt that he deserved a national forum, too. And he's done a fantastic job, and there's others like that. And so why not use my platform to present them to you? Or at least promote them to you, or at least give them a bigger audience. You know, if you're like me, your favorite part of going to the mall as a kid was stopping by Mrs. Fields. It'll probably be your favorite part of going holiday shopping this year, too. Something about that first soft bite of the perfect chocolate chip cookie just makes you feel like a kid again. Now, this holiday season, you can give your friends and family that same feeling of pure joy with a holiday gift arrangement from Mrs. Fields. Mrs. Fields cookies have been around for 40 years. Everyone knows and loves them. Remember the very first time you had one? It's like you finally knew what a chocolate chip cookie is supposed to taste like. They're so soft and chocolatey. Just thinking about those cookies makes my mouth water. You think I'm kidding? It's true. And Mrs. Fields cookies are freshly baked and ready to enjoy right out of the box. So everyone can have what they've always wanted right now. Here's an exclusive deal for you. I'm serious. For you, my listeners. Go to MrsFields.com. Simple enough. MrsFields.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see it there. And enter code Levin, L-E-V-I-N. You do all that, you'll save 20% on any Mrs. Fields product, including their best-selling Peace, Love Cookies tin, which comes with holiday favorites like Nibbler's bite-sized cookies, Brownie Bites, and more. We got this for Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, it was a huge, huge hit. Now, we're in the middle of Hanukkah. It's not too late, and Christmas is also almost here. But at some point, it will be too late, so act quickly. Just click on the microphone, enter promo code Levin, L-E-V-I-N, get 20% off any product at MrsFields.com. That's MrsFields.com. All right. Let's take a call, shall I? Yes, I shall. David, Cantrell, Illinois, the great WTAX. Go.
Hey, I got to tell you, one day in my little town of 300, I saw the Barnum and Bailey circus train come through. And the love and affection they showed those animals. Oh,
I know.
It was
you know, the PR war, the propaganda war, don't hang up, that was run against this circus and these animals and these animal handlers was just pathetic. The politicization of this, absolutely awful. These caretakers, these trainers, these veterinarians, I saw it with my own two eyes. They love these animals. They mean everything to them. That's their family. and for PETA and the rest of them to cherry pick stuff and accuse them of things, the same PETA that's out there slaughtering puppy dogs as I speak. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you should have seen him on the train. It was beautiful.
It is beautiful. Nah, it's terrible. We've lost an institution in this country now. And it's unfortunate that the company that owned the Ringling Brothers Circus dropped it. It really is unfortunate. Big mistake in my view. First they dropped the elephants, then, of course, they dropped the circus. Really terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, and emergency personnel. Please check out Levin TV. I know you're going to like it, and I'll see you on the radio tomorrow. God bless.